What's up, everyone? It is Tyler, Mom's Basement MMA. I'm with you, episode 85, with a flyweight on the East Coast that really excites the hell out of me. This is a guy I've been wanting to talk to for a really long time, and we're just going to go ahead. We're going to get right into it. His name is Relentless, Ryan Burgos. Ryan, how are you doing on this cold as hell January afternoon?
Oh yeah, it's definitely cold in the East Coast, but I'm good. I'm good. I just finished up a tough cardio workout, feeling pretty exhausted, but I'm good to go.
You have a bout that is upcoming. It is going to happen at the ROC Combat at the Space. That is an event that's going to take place on February 5th at Westbury, New York. I did have a question about your opponent. Are you locked in against William Alomar still? Do you have an opponent change? What's going on with that?
I did have an opponent change. It's Charlie Cabrera now.
Okay.
Don't know much about him, but the fight's at 135, so I'll be ready.
I so
I completely expected an opponent change. I never fought my original opponent ever in my 3 amateur fights, so.
I've been meaning, Ryan, to ask you this question. So, for those who don't know, Ryan made his ammy flyweight debut earlier this past summer, in the summer of 2021. But I'm talking MMA debut. I also know that
Yeah.
you've competed in kickboxing fights in the past. I don't know if you've done any like Muay Thai stuff or boxing. Have you done anything that like predates what's on Tapology other than like kickboxing stuff?
I don't know. I had my first kickboxing fight when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3-0 in kickboxing also. So that's really it. I've done a million jiu-jitsu tournaments. I used to travel over the East Coast as when I was young, doing the Nagas and Grappler's Quest, all that good fight. So that's about it though. Yeah. So
What made you decide that the time was right to compete in the MMA realm? Obviously, kickboxing, MMA, they're both amazing sports, but they're a lot different. How did you know that you were ready to go?
the Tiger Schulmanns, we're never gonna just throw anybody in a cage. So if you're a great grappler, they're gonna make you do kickboxing fights. You're a great kickboxer, they're gonna make you do jujitsu tournaments, and that's how it's always been. Especially me growing up and seeing the older fighters do what I was doing, and it just got to a point where I was 3-0 in kickboxing, and kickboxing wasn't really my strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a finish also, and I was in there training with the professional MMA fighters, giving good rounds in MMA to them, and COVID hit. Felt like I was wasting time. So we just had to pull the trigger on MMA, and I'm glad.
You have competed a lot. I'm glad that you mentioned your kickboxing bouts. I'm glad that you mentioned, rolling on and getting your rolls in and getting in these like big tournaments.
Since I was 5 years old. Yeah.
That's a huge deal, and I expected that. I expected you to tell me that you were an athlete growing up, that you wrestled as a kid, all that other good
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
But when you were getting ready to make your MMA debut for an amateur fight this past summer, when you're getting ready to like mentally prepare, train, and make that walk for the first time, were there more nerves involved with that? Because I assume MMA is like where you see yourself long term, or is it just any other fight for you?
To me, it felt like any other fight, but I didn't realize till I got in there that 4 ounce gloves are a lot different than 12, 14, 16 ounces, you know? So that took, I mean, my first MMA fight was very quick, but I got hit with the first punch. It didn't stun me or anything, but I was like, okay, you know what? If I had 16-ounce gloves on, that wouldn't have landed. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a little bit different, but besides that, completely same nerves, everything.
You train out of one of my favorite gyms in the country, Tiger Schulmann's MMA. For people who don't know, that is, I don't really know why you wouldn't know that, but if you follow the sport, you would know that Tiger Schulmann's MMA, they have some of the best fighters in the world that train out of there. The first person I think of is Lyman Good, Solomon Renfro, and the list goes on and on and on. Jimmie Rivera, there are tons of other guys that have been through those doors. Can you talk, Ryan, a little bit? I always ask this question when I know that there are a lot of fighters that are competing at that elite level, just about like the gym culture, right? Quote unquote, name guys. It sounds a lot cooler than what it really is when you're just beginning your MMA journey because you're trying to also improve. You're trying to get your work in. The coaches might be preparing some guy that has a Bellator fight or something like that. It can get difficult when you're a young guy trying to make your mark on this game. Can you talk a little bit about what the atmosphere is like being an amateur fighter at a big gym?
Uh, I definitely understand, and I think at these bigger gyms that can get very difficult. And with Tiger Schulmanns, I have never felt like a B level fighter. They've never came anywhere close to treating me like that once. I'm always I as an amateur. I've been taking the pro classes and the all the pro. I've been there since I was, a kid. I've been
Mm-hmm.
going to that gym since I was 10 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old, and I've always been treated very, very high level
So,
at the
not an issue to get the attention, the time that you need, and
yeah.
getting. Is it difficult? So, this is a question I've always wanted to ask, and I don't know if I've ever asked a flyweight this question, so that's on me. How difficult is it getting bodies that are roughly your size? Because I'd imagine that's a lot easier said than done.
we A lot of people say that, but we're a lightweight gym. I would say
Okay.
we got some great middle heavier and middleweight guys, and especially our amateur team is sick. We got a
Great.
lot of great fighters coming up. My main Pretty much my main training partner is Danny Ramirez, and this dude is a beast in the gym. He's my size. He's a beast, and he's got crazy cardio for days. I get beat up by Jimmie Rivera. Julio Arce is a great in between. That guy can go with anybody. He can go with the 55ers and the 25ers. So he's a great body. He's a lefty too, so very awkward. But we got a lot of little guys, smaller guys for me to go with.
One of the things
So,
that stood out to me when I watch everything that's out there on you, guys your size aren't supposed to be as strong as what you are. I think you get in there, and this is just judging what I see off the tape. You hit hard, and I don't think guys really understand how strong you are until they're actually in there with you, and they get those punches to the body when they get those kicks to the face. Like, you're a strong, strong
thank you.
dude. That is the one thing that sticks out to me, and you've earned that nickname.
Yeah,
Um, Dude, like, I'm telling you, like, I have a dog, and it's like if I tied a stake around my neck, like how my dog would be on me, like that's how you are when you're in there.
I pride myself in that. So I try to be like as much as like a pit bull I can be.
You're a pit bull that foams at the mouth, and the
Yeah,
question that I've always found interesting when strength is like the athletic attribute that stands out to me. When you have to make 125 pounds, does that sap your strength? Because when you fought in your kickboxing bouts, you were fighting at close to featherweight. What does that feel like when you're making that cut? Because that can't be easy to do. You're a pretty jacked dude as it is, and I'm just like, Jesus, how is he doing that? Like, there can't be a whole lot to cut.
yeah. I appreciate all that, but honestly, I don't. Shane Burgos is my brother, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody they come asking me how does that guy make weight. So I have the complete blueprint, and is making 125 will never be a problem. I just I get strict with my diet, and it'll never be a problem. I never, granted, as an MMA fighter, I never made 25 yet, but for 35, I've weighed in at 32 and 33, you know, just effortlessly. And
Because
I
I would
don't think it's
imagine
not.
you probably walk around, like, I'm going to go, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. I would imagine you probably walk around at like 150 pounds. That's probably about around where you are,
Yeah,
if I had to
yeah,
guess.
yeah. You're right.
So
Yeah,
it's a 25-pound weight cut, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I know that's not a big deal for fighters. I know you guys do that stuff all the time. But you're a young dude. You're 20 years old,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
when it's pretty easy to strip off that weight at your age. Further on down the line, do you see
yeah.
yourself at maybe
I'm
going 35 and staying there?
Definitely. Yes, that. It's not really the plan. I'm gonna roll with the punches and just see how it goes. If I can make 25 forever, why wouldn't I, right?
Yeah.
But
Because you're a big
I
25er
think
too.
yeah, I think eventually I'll be a little bit too big for 25 and hopefully be a solid 35 pounder.
I think so too. I mean, you're like when you look at like the 25ers, like they aren't as big as you. Like at the
Yeah,
highest level of
I
the
feel that way
sport,
too.
yeah, you look at them and it's like okay, like these guys are tiny, they're small, and they're not very muscular, they're not very big.
Yeah.
If you can make 25 at that next level, it's like holy shit, like who is this kid? How the hell did this guy make the weight? That's not
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
I I think I'll cause a bit of ruckus at 125 eventually.
Well, you already are, and Ryan, like you're well known, and you mentioned obviously Shane and everything like that, and so this is kind of like the $1 million question I have for you. With your brother being Shane, I closed my eyes and I thought about this question, and I had to rewrite it a couple times because I wanted to get it right. I think that's a blessing. I think that's a curse at the same time. It's a blessing because he's been there, he's done that, and there's a lot of perspective that he can offer to you that can only benefit your career. The shitty part of that is it's like you're not him, you're you. Like you have your own way of fighting, you're a flyweight, you're on this path for yourself. Like he's not in the cage with you when you're fighting. Like yeah, he might corner you, but like this is an individual sport, so like at times that's kind of got to be a little frustrating. Like dude, like I'm good as fuck too. Like yeah, my brother's good and stuff, but like I'm my own man. Like, does that kind of like get on your nerves sometimes?
It really does not, to be honest. I'm growing up in school. I always thought about that when I was in school, but
Sure.
now that I'm out of school and everyone, I think my hard work shows, and I don't get a lot of people saying that. Oh, don't you wish like you had as much attention as your brother or whatever? I don't ever feel like that. What I do is I run with it. I'm gonna run with the fact that I'm Shane Burgos' brother, but I'm not. I'm gonna make my own noise. I already know that myself, so it's not that never bothered me at all. My work will show. I know it. So
It already has shown, and I
yeah,
know you're
thank
competing
you.
at the ammy level. You're a very very talented dude, and it's always difficult to get fights. I don't care what weight class you're in, but particularly at those lower weight classes for ammies, it's not always easy getting fights. For you, just how difficult has
Yeah,
it been
that's
getting
it.
fights?
Uh, it in the beginning with I mean, I haven't had a serious problem where I'm just sitting out and not more so a lot of people pulling out. They say yes and they don't really want it, they're not serious, and it's been driving me crazy lately. Like I said earlier, I've never fought the original guy I was supposed to fight in my 3 fights, and it's frustrating, but to be honest, I really never had a problem where I was just sitting out and trying to get a fight doing nothing. I had that problem in the beginning of COVID, but I like to think that's more COVID reasons
Yeah.
and not that nobody people don't want to fight me. Just, yeah,
I think one of the challenges about being an AMI too is trying to discern the difference between the hobbyists and the people that are really serious about it too.
yeah, yeah,
You have to dedicate, I don't know what your camps are, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's 6 to 8 weeks. And
yeah,
if you're going to give somebody 2, 3 months of your life, you want the best version of them. You want them to make the weight and get in the cage and give you a fight so you can test yourself.
yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting that you say, like, my opponents have always bailed out. I've always had to make adjustments on the fly. And do you just kind of have to, like, program your brain to not really think too much of your opponent when you're getting ready?
150%. I'm not. I'm gonna go out. I don't ever. My brother's the same way. We don't. We watch film,
Sure.
but I'm not gonna go in there and try to change my game plan for somebody else. I'm gonna go out there and get my hands dirty immediately. That's what I want. So, um, I always expect that you know what, this guy's probably not going to be there come fight night. My last fight, they they found a guy in less than 24 hours, and he didn't belong in there with me at all. But
Yeah.
you
But
know, that's
props to
how
him for
that's
taking it. I
exact.
mean,
And of course I said that to him, but it's not a game. You can't play fighting. I actually shattered that dude's nose with that kick. So I I feel for him, but at the same time, you can't play this game, and it's frustrating that people are like that, where they think they can play this, and you know,
I wanted to. I actually talked to a guy named Karan Reed yesterday, and for people who don't know, he is like Tapology's number one ranked like bantamweight in the country. A very talented dude. Very. He'll make it to the UFC 100%, even at the 35 class. That's how good he is. The reason why I'm bringing him up is because he mentioned the same thing. Like we were talking about the same exact situation. And I asked him, I was like, do you think a lot of people want to fight because they like the idea of being a fighter and they want to do it for the gram? And he's like, dude, 100%. He's like, people like the idea
yeah,
of it, but they don't really want. He's like, 1 out of 1,000 people actually want this. He's like, dude, not everybody is built for this. People don't understand what we
yeah,
give up to compete. What are some of the things, Ryan, that you have given up and sacrificed in order to do this?
social life for one. You know, I'm always in the gym, and whenever I'm home, I have very select few friends that I really hang out with that aren't in the same field as me,
Right.
and you know, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I just finished training, I don't feel like doing shit,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that just stuff like that for sure. Injuries, the amount of stress I put on my body, on my mind too, man, it's taxing. This sport is very taxing for sure.
And you have to be all in. Like I can only imagine, like if you're half
Yeah,
in, half out, you're going to get found out. You're going to
yeah,
get your face
uh huh,
broken,
yep,
and it's not going to be the sport for you. When I
yeah.
think about your path thus far in your career, 3 wins, 3 finishes. I'm talking strictly about your MMA career. 3 wins, 3 finishes. You've sat on the stool 1 time. Like, it's not supposed to be this easy. Like, you're supposed to level up. I know for you, you're in a situation where you're not really like picking your opponents per se. It's mostly who's going to show up with me.
Exactly that. Yeah.
And one of the things that I always kind of throw out there as a cautionary tale, especially when I'm talking to a younger fighter, is like, yes, like you're good as hell. Yes, you're 3-0, but like what do you have to do mentally to make sure like you're still open to being coached? You're still open to knowing that your game it needs to evolve. You need to keep getting better. Like how do you not buy into your own hype?
Oh man, I got people don't understand, man. You got Jimmie Rivera in the gym. You got guys like I said, my team, my main training partner, Danny Ramirez. These are guys that I got. Ricardo Fuentes. They all fly under the radar, but these guys are top tier fighters. I don't have one easy round in the gym, so that's what I go in there thinking. You think this guy? You think this guy could be Ricardo? You think this guy could be Danny? You think this guy could be Jimmy? You know, so that kind of confidence going in is unmatched. I get my head pummeled by Jimmie Rivera. So, you know, um,
So you're getting
it's
that humble pie on a regular.
yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm getting humbled in the gym. Not that it was ever a problem, you know. So, but I don't ever go in there with my head up here. But I expect to win. Know that I definitely expect to win no matter what.
I want to see more of you. I'm looking forward to this bout on the 4th. Before I let you go, can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing to get ready for this fight here in a couple weeks?
I I'm a firm believer. I like to be ready before I have to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in the gym. I've been doing this. Now that I got an opponent, it's just keep going.
Keep
Just
going.
now it's tunnel vision. Yeah, now it's tunnel vision, and I know he's this. I know nobody's doing the amount of training. What I'm doing, I just I'm ready for anybody. I really am.
I think it's also safe to say, and I don't mean this like in a dismissive way or to suggest that if this doesn't apply to anybody else other than you, that they suck. I'm not trying to say that, but what I am trying to say is like I think you have a distinct advantage in being able to train with the people that you're able to and having access to the resources you have access to. Most people
So
don't.
blessed, 100%. They don't know. They don't know, and I I like to express it as much as possible. So I'm so grateful. I started the sport when I was 5 years old. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I couldn't name you anyone on any sport from any team. I don't know any of that. Oh, my life is fighting, combat sports. That's it. It's been that way before I
I
even started training.
I
So
know that like you're the type of guy that you're cut from a different cloth. Like there's just something different about you. Like you have these certain intangibles. You're 20 years old. Like I can't even like drink beer with you yet. But like there's these certain intangibles about you that I see. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, how is this kid so good? And he's so young. Like I can't wait to see what you look like when you're 27 years old, 28 years old.
I
I
can't wait
mean,
myself, man. Thank you.
one of the
Appreciate that.
beautiful things about being 125 pounds is like that division's wide open. I
Yeah,
mean,
I like that.
whew, you could get a fight
I know.
really soon, sooner than you might
That's
think.
that's a great feeling. Sorry about that.
No,
But
it's okay, Ryan.
it's a great feeling. I know that.
I can't wait to have you back at some point after you beat this guy up on the fourth, whoever it happens to be. I think I'm talking to a prodigy.
Sure.
I think I'm talking to somebody that has a very bright future. Ryan, I absolutely wish you the best, and I want to give you the last word. If you have any shout
Thank
outs
you.
or anyone that you'd like to thank before I let you go, I want to give you that chance.
Shout out Team Tiger Schulmann, of course. My big brother Shane. Believe Elite Training, John Ron, Edge Pro. All of them. They've been huge helps in all of my fights, my whole life, pretty much. So yeah, huge shout out to those guys and thank you.
All right.
And
Well,
thank you, Tyler.
yeah, you're welcome, my friend. You're welcome, and I can't wait to run it back with you. Make sure that
Yes,
you
sir.
follow my guy Ryan Burgos here. His Instagram handle, I will include it in the description for this video, as well as the Instagram handle for his gym. So be sure to check those out.